Ah, there we go. Now it's behaving. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday the 13th. You've chosen a risky day to go on the internet, but I appreciate that. It's a sign of courage and greatly appreciated. So, welcome once again to Fulfillment Friday. Good to see you all. Good to be able to celebrate that we're here for another week. And tonight, I am joined by the concert Cruizer.
Good evening, bronies! Welcome to Fulfillment Friday, where the puns are always intended and the innuendos are always flying innuendo. So here's our host, Silver-Quill!
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to get myself one of those sound machines. That'll come in handy.
Oh, they're inexpensive. They were made for a wonderful Christmas gift from my mom. Of course, my brother and father may have different opinions on that, as is their wont. And I definitely know that my friends online really don't appreciate it, which is why I do it. Tee tee.
I, I personally love it just because sometimes you need like the right sound effect to just really to really kind of sell the humor of something that just happened.
I certainly think so. It's served me more faithfully than not. Usually, when it's not, it's because the darn batteries die on me.
Well, I know it certainly came in handy the last two times I did a live stream with you with Brony debates and Death of the Author Part Two, the deafening. Uh, got a lot of mileage out of that thing.
Well, I'm glad for it. It was a fun discussion. Alrighty. And we have folks in the chat who I want to give shout outs to. First of all,
By all
Trinary,
means.
good to see you again. Champ to stay, pleasure as always. I see the Preston Cox is there, as is Komotra Steel. Let's see here. I saw Rainbow Hose Productions earlier. There you are. And, well, wow, both on YouTube and Twitch. I see Chris Blessings and Helsing Ghost 1 and Clay Pigeon 310. Thank you all for returning. I greatly appreciate it. And it's just good to
Yes,
see
thank you all for
everybody.
joining.
And well, as once again, I'm continuing work on the Rainbow Crew. I've got Rainbow Hooves Productions. I've got Rainbow Crew here on the art, and while doing that, I get a chance to catch up with Concert Cruiser. So, Concert,
How's it going, you?
it's going well. Okay, I'll be honest. This week really took it out of me. The tank's a little low today, so if I become unintelligible gibberish, it's probably a sign I need to go to bed. But until that inevitable breakdown, how have you been?
Pretty exhausted. Work has been busy rather as of late, which it has been for the past well, ever since day one of the pandemic. For those who don't know, I actually do work at a hospital. I'm not a doctor or a nurse. I just work in the kitchen, and we've had a few people leave, or they either leave or they don't show up. No call, no shows, as we call them. And when that happens, we have to pick up the slack. And patients, they are definitely in need of nourishments and nutrients. However, some of them like to hoard. Like they'll ask for like maybe 30 packs of Splenda, despite having just one cup of coffee.
Is it a splendid cup of coffee?
It better be if you're taking that much.
Yeah, it's like wait. Sorry, I forgive a guy who doesn't drink, who well until recently didn't drink a lot of coffee. But Splenda's a sugar alternative, isn't it?
Yeah, Splenda, Sweet and Low, Equal. These are all sugar substitutes.
So how much are they putting in just one cup if they're asking for that much?
Probably none because they, like I said, they just want to hoard. They want to, either uh, take it home and save it. You think they'll either spare money or
Hmm.
they're just they feel that need to have something. I'm not. I don't know that much about hoarding, but if you ever seen like those hoarding shows on A&E, it can get pretty disgusting.
I get you. Well, I
Mhm.
I can't fault people for being concerned about the future. given the current year. But we were talking a little bit before the stream, and Gutsard, I want you to accept the accolades. I mean, you are helping feed people at a hospital. That involves a certain degree of risk in and of itself. With well, YouTube won't let me use the proper terminology, so we just call it human malware. So you're doing something for other people in a very difficult time. Never sell yourself short on that regard.
I guess I just never thought a difficult time would ever happen for me to where I would have to, kind of step up and your what was once just, a casual role at or a casual job in a hospital becomes like 5 times more needed. I never thought a time like that would actually happen. Yeah, at least, certainly during my lifetime, or at least, while I'm working. But it is definitely very flattering, especially when someone you admire calls you an American hero.
I feel like people heroics are just being there for other people sometimes, and that's no small accomplishment. Also, I want to give some more shout outs. The Cosplay Gamer, good to see you. And let's see, who else do I see? Olivia Glanville? Excellent. And Hannah Nicole. Oh boy, I'm gonna ruin this. Kabagunda. Hannah Nicola Kabagunda.
Gesundheit.
Indeed.
Thanks for joining the stream, guys.
Yes, good to see everybody.
Mhm. Uh, but in this instance, it was actually Daniel Ingram, the composer from MLP. He and I do actually know each other. Like we're on like an acquaintance level. Like I worked with him at another pony convention. He knows I'm a music nerd. And fun fact, when Rainbow Rocks was actually first premiering in movie theaters, I'm sitting in the movie theater, the Dazzlings come on with their song Battle of the Bands. I go, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. And by the time the chorus hit, I went, oh my God, this is a Marilyn Manson song. I quickly pulled out my phone and tweeted to Daniel. And keep in mind, this was before we ever met face to face. And I go, at Rainbow Rocks premiere, I can totally hear the Marilyn Manson influences in the Dazzlings. And he responded by liking my tweet.
Nice. Though
Yes, I would.
I have to call a little
But
foul that you pulled out your phone in the middle of a movie theater. Duh! Tell me it wasn't at the Alamo.
no, if anything, it was actually just a morning showing. So, because I was seeing it right before I went to work, so there wasn't that many people there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I,
there was no one surrounding me when I went to go see the movie.
See, I've been in movies where people will pull out their phones midway, and it is a torch. I'd actually have to angle my foot to cover it in my sight just so I could focus back on the screen. It's like,
And just like for me, just being a music nerd and hearing like all these musical influences. Like I remember hearing the Ramones. There was Queen, uh, and finally, meeting Daniel and telling him like, I heard this, that, and the other. Some bands that I heard, he didn't know, so obviously they had to be a sheer coincidence. Like during Welcome to the Show when the Thousands first come on, the music that or the band that particular song reminded me of was an Italian band called Lacuna Coil, which means empty spiral. And he's like, I have no idea who they are. I'm like, I didn't think you did. That's why I think this one was just a coincidence. Uh, but one of the more shocking discoveries for I made when I was reviewing that album was in the song "Better Than Ever." I noticed that the lyrics seemed kind of off, like it's, or at least they had some sort of a double meaning. Like when they say now it's better than ever, I'm like, wait, what's better than ever? Like your relationship? Who actually says that about their friendship? And there's like it goes on. You can feel it. We are back. Like, wait a minute, feel what? Are you talking about getting a better vibe from this movie, or when you say we're back, do you mean the Equestria Girls brand is back. And like I'm hearing like all these different references or not reference, but supposed double meanings. And then Daniel actually reveals to me that, well, not just to me, but at this panel, that Megan McCarthy is actually a serious smack talker. And
Oh,
I realized that, and I found out that she co-wrote that song. And I realized, oh my God, this was just a giant hoof slap to everybody who complained about the first movie.
well,
And
at least they,
well, here's
at least they didn't
go
do
ahead.
like a WWE intro. I'm back and better than ever. I can never hear that song and not think of Eric Bischoff and
Uh,
the
well, well,
boos that would
what was?
accompany that
Sorry, go ahead.
music. Just the sheer amount of booing that one musical intro can prescribe.
Well, I mean, the guy does have a book called "Controversy Creates Cash," and he's not wrong.
It's not wrong, but then so does. Well, there's a lot of critiques of the WWE.
Of course.
Not sure I want to get into that topic tonight.
Uh, well, going back here to what I was saying, because this I thought was interesting. Once I kind of figured out the supposed double meaning, and I saw Daniel again at BronyCon 2017, I told him this, and his mouth dropped, and his eyes popped open, and he goes, "I need to call Megan."
It's like, Megan, you pulled a fast one on me.
uh, Man, but I was actually uh, when MLP actually turned 10 years old, I actually was kind of reminiscing about, the show and, watching some of the older episodes and the movies and just think, man, what a ride it's been.
And continues to be. Well, okay. Let's be honest. 2020 is a ride in general, but seeing reactions to Pony Life. Next year we'll see reactions to G5 for good or ill, for or against. Now, we have some questions in Yon Chat.
Okay, cool.
Let's see here. So a question that came up that was coming up before the chat and is coming up now. Thoughts on Alex Trebek's passing? He, as I understand it, lost a battle to pancreatic cancer. So,
This is very true. I have, well, I did have very stereotypical grandparents who would watch The Wheel and then Jeopardy, and of course, If the Price is Right. They always had that on, and he was the host for that show for like since its beginning, right?
I haven't looked up the details, but it certainly feels like he is synonymous with Jeopardy.
Yeah, I mean, he is definitely the face of that show. And but one thing I'll that I will actually always remember him for is that he actually had a cameo in the short-lived Weird Al show that used to air on Saturday mornings. And it was basically one of these like commercials where they were trying to sell you like how you can get like degrees and all these different things. And it had things like robot engineer, earwax removal, accounting.
And appearing on Jeopardy?
No, Alex appeared on the Weird Al show.
But as part of that ad?
Yeah, there's a segment in the Weird Al show where they would just, watch TV. And of course, it would be like alter clips and kind of make them a bit funny and humorous. But for that particular scene with Alex, it was meant to, like, the moral of that particular episode is that Al wanted to be smarter, and then he sees his commercial, goes, "Ooh, I should do that."
Oh dear, I can see this going wrong in many ways.
I mean, he does get a degree, but and not what you think. Al gets a degree in hamster maintenance.
I'm sure that's a needed but often unsung service. Mostly
Have
because,
you ever see? Sorry, go ahead.
mostly because how do you compose a song about gerbils?
Knowing Al, I'm sure he'll find a way. But Alex was definitely, to some extent, a pop culture icon, and he will be missed.
I too remember him most fondly because when my grandmother was living here in the state, uh, I would bring her we'd bring her a martini every evening and visit with her and watch the TV. And uh, being younger, I was often more impatient, but I would watch. We would watch Jeopardy together, and it's funny. I wish I'd slowed down more when I was younger, but I got to have that time with her, thanks in part to Alex Trebek hosting Jeopardy. And it's one of those funny things where you never know the impact a piece of media will have beyond immediate entertainment, as I think My Little Pony has demonstrated.
Yeah, yeah. There's that old saying, you don't know what you got till it's gone. But I think there's something else that people really need to consider, and that is they never seem to think into the future. Like, is this something that will be around here? Is this something that I'm going to miss? Uh, and once you start thinking about that, the more you can kind of start to, I guess you could say, enjoy it more. You appreciate it for the time that it's here.
Exactly. And sometimes we got to say goodbye to realize that again. We're sort of in a
Mm.
perpetual learning process, I think.
Yeah, because I noticed that the internet has kind of grown with me. Uh, because I was born in '85, and I kind of remember like the internet kind of first picking up and starting to get more and more popular and more used, and there was access to all these sites and then email, and now it's become pretty much an essential part of life. Everyone is like always trying to get quick, easy entertainment, and sometimes that's really not wise.
Although I have to ask, given your birth year, do you feel a special significance with the song 1985?
Surprisingly, no. Just because I was a baby. Like I don't like I first started having recollections in life at '89. So by the time I could actually recall myself walking around going, "I'm 4 years old," like the '80s was already on its way out the door.
Hey, you youngins. Meh.
Hey, I still thought you were 37 when I did that interview with you.
Meh.
Like literally, people. I did an interview with Silver-Quill at the very last BronyCon for a different interview show that I want to do. I love doing interviews. I love conducting them. People are fascinating. It's interesting to get to know them and their story and what got them to where they are. And I would like to be able. I want to do a show where I could interview YouTubers and people who are known in fandoms that aren't connected to the show but are known within various fandoms. So I call it fan favorites. I asked Silver Quill to do it, and uh, people think I'm a lot younger than I really am. People think I'm in my mid 20s, but I'm 35, and I thought Silver was the same way. And I remember going like, dude, I'm 34 years old. Like, oh, look at the 34-year-old. Isn't that nice? Like,
Hey,
oh, come on. You're like only, what, 37? And he goes, I love you. And he just leans in and hugs me.
yes, it nursed my fragile ego. Oh, the pain.
And I knew this would happen when I did the effect. When he leans in for the hug, I slow it down, make it go black, white, and gray, and start playing "Love Lift Us Up Where We Belong," knowing somebody would put in the comments, "I ship it."
Where the eagles fly to the mile high. And that's all I remember.
Speaking of shipping, Silver, I know you're into the whole shipping thing. Perhaps you can explain this one for me, because I'm personally not really into it. It's not my thing. I don't fault anybody who's into it. It's just not for me. But there's one ship that at least an MLP, that I never got, and that's Sora Dash.
Ah. Sorry, Rainbow Dash. Well, okay, I will do my best to ship-splain it.
Okay.
Here's the thing. What triggers a ship is going to vary depending on people, but the principles of design actually do apply here. That sometimes it's
Really?
proximity, or sometimes it's a repetitive pattern, or it's even continuity. But in Sora, but I think for Soren Dash, similar form is a big influence because it is, well, they are both light blue ponies, Pegasi, one a Wonderbolt, Wonderbolt hopeful, later a Wonderbolt herself. Uh, the parallels were so close that they actually started, I think, for a lot of people, it just made a lot of sense that, hey, if Rainbow ever wanted to partner, a fellow athletic Wonderbolt would be a good option. Now, personally, I sort of scratch my head thinking, well, wouldn't the Wonderbolts actually frown on that? That you bring relationships into the work environment? Would it not jeopardize perhaps the team dynamic? I don't know.
Yeah, because that.
That's a question for more military based bronies, I think.
Well, you are on the right path. I mean, I certainly have not served in the military, but I do come from an extended military family, and yeah, team cohesion is a very big deal. If there was a relation, that would definitely make things a bit iffy.
Now, it does help that Rainbow, what is it, saved Soren in Sonic Rainboom, got to visit with Soren and the others in The Best Night Ever. So she had some interaction. There are other
Hmm.
ships out there that I kind of see the same influence, but they're even more extreme because these characters, as far as I know, have never even met. One particular example was Spitfire and Brayburn.
Okay, that's an interesting combo.
Well, think about it again. Both bright yellow ponies, uh, who are athletic. I mean, Brayburn
Hmm.
not quite to the same extreme as Spitfire, I think, but he does like to compete. And so, even from just
Okay,
that little visual similarity, you can get people's imaginations going.
I suppose that's fair. Because for me personally, again, this is speaking from someone who is not a shipper, so this is an outsider looking in. When I look at something like Rare and Jack, especially within the Equestria Girls series, if you squint hard enough, I can at least see a spark or the potentials of one. But whenever I saw Rainbow Dash and Soren, they always came off like colleagues. There was even an episode, or not an episode, but an issue of the comic Friends Forever that featured Rainbow Dash and Soren. And even then, they still felt like colleagues. Nothing about it felt like there was a spark between them.
Well, that's the joy of shipping. One person's spark is another person's inferno, and for others, it's just a dud.
So, okay, there's more to shipping than just possibly detecting a spark. It's also form.
Form,
All
fun-
right, good to know.
Form, function, and also just perhaps there's something in the shipper's imagination that carries them forward. And honestly,
Okay, well, let me ask you.
okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Personally, I'm more a fan of when a fanfic or artist is willing to put in the effort to make the ship feel real without relying on the show to justify it.
Really?
Oh yeah, so well, I'm mostly speaking from my time in the Digimon fandom, but sometimes people would just cite episodes, and that was the entire story. It was two characters saying, "Oh yeah, remember this happened? Oh yeah, we should date." Okay.
It's funny you bring up Digimon because I actually went to a convention. This was last year that actually had Derek Stephen Prince and Paul St. Peter from Digimon. For those who don't know, they did the voices of Wormmon and the Digimon Emperor Kenichi Joji. Those are the least the ones they're most famous for. And during the panel, I asked him like, I've been hearing a lot about the ending of Series 2.0 and how people just didn't like it. And before I could even finish the question, Derek Stephen Prince goes,
Just not a fan of the
he
ending.
didn't he did not like the ending, no. And He goes, and then he goes like, I get Kari, but why Yoli?
Why ship with Yoli? Well, and funny enough, that became canon. Oh, that's the darkest of day when the canon becomes ship, because then the fans become insufferable.
Because I like you, I was a big fan of Digimon. At first I started out as a fan of Pokemon, but then I remember just seeing commercials for Digimon on Fox Kids. Go, oh, I wonder what this is. And the more I watched it, the more I got invested in that show. It had a much better story. It had better monsters. It had better characters, and you weren't trying to collect them all. You weren't trying to become, some sort of champion trainer. You had to save the digital world. I thought that was way better. And I gotta say, I actually recently finished Digimon Fusion. I did not like that series.
You got farther than I.
Oh, really? Where'd you stop?
I watched a little bit of the Japanese fusion, the first few episodes, but it couldn't hold me.
Well, I watched. I know there's probably going to be a lot of anime fans who will give me a hard time about this, but I watched the dub. Sorry, guys. That's just how I roll. It's easier for me to digest. And the kid, the gogglehead himself, Mikey, that's what he was named here. He was way too perfect. Like this kid could audition for Jesus, and he was just so uninteresting. The fact that because he was so flawless,
Absolutely
and I didn't,
flawless.
and I didn't like the idea of Digimon fusing either. At least, I mean, when we saw like in season two with I think it was called DNA Digivolution, where two would actually mix together.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that to me was a better idea than fusion because it just seemed like some weird Power Rangers or Voltron knockoff to have these characters just like connect together in some form or fashion.
Well, I don't want to break into connect the dots, la 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 la, connect the dots. What? I have been. We've been neglecting questions from the audience, and there've been a few directed your way.
Oh, I'm so sorry, chat. Please, let's answer them.
Ready? Cruiser. Well, first off, Chris Blessings would like to know where you post your videos or interviews. Which of your YouTube channels?
Okay, the ones that are for, and both my channels, both the links to my channels are in the description. The ones that are related to music are on my Concert Cruiser channel. It's just the Concert Cruiser. That's going to be strictly for music. I actually want to get back into that. And basically anything that isn't music related, I try to put a lot of that on my Brony channel, which is just Cruiser Brony. But occasionally I will put, depending on who I'm interviewing, on my Concert Cruiser channel. There's a few convention guests or people who get booked for conventions who also have bands, like Ari Lehman, the very first Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th. He actually has his own band called First Jason. So because it's still music related, I will put him on my music channel. So you will see that there in those in the God, I can't talk today. So you will see stuff like that on my Concert Cruiser channel, but stuff that's more like cartoon oriented, you'll find on my Brony channel.
I get you. Alrighty. Well, that means
Thank you for your question.
we've honored the plug. Now, you remember before the stream I mentioned that we'll cover whether or not you've watched Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends?
Yes, I remember.
Well, Champ to Stay, who's our resident Thomas enthusiast, he'd like to know, do you watch Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends?
No, I am sorry. Like I saw bits and pieces of it when I was a kid, but it just never really caught my attention. Now, I will say, looking back on it now as an adult, the way the show was made back then in the early years, where it was really just toys kind of going around this little train set, uh, there's definitely a good charm to it. It's no wonder why it's lasted for so long.
But now it's computer graphics, if I remember right, which I'm sure has the fandom divided.
Yeah, full on CG. Like, this is kind of the way how I see it with computer graphics. Use it, don't abuse it. Uh, to give an example here, if anyone remembers the first Jurassic Park movie, there's moments where they
Well,
used animatronics, and there was moments where they went full on CG with some of the dinosaurs. Uh, that's definitely that worked, okay, because that fooled the eye. Uh, just like how with in the music world, my background, uh, there is like I should say, live tracks that get played during a performance. A lot of musicians kind of frown upon that. Me personally, like, it's okay to have some tracks playing while you're performing. Just don't abuse it. You still got to be up there playing live. That's the whole point of a concert. But if there's if you need like a spare singer who's not there and you need to have it played for backing vocals, that's perfectly fine. Just don't lip sync.
funny you should mention that. Earlier this week, I saw a headline looking back at Milli Vanilli.
Oh, that notorious incident. And I actually wonder how many people from the Brony fandom knew what Philly Vanilli was referencing when they did that episode.
Oh, they knew what they wrought. They,
Good to know, because I had him, because I remember a few years ago, uh, I remember saying to some friends of mine who were young, I said, look, as long as the guy's not pulling a Milli Vanilli stunt, I don't care. And they go, what's a Milli Vanilli stunt? Head to steering wheel. I cannot be this old.
yes, you can. Trust me, it happens more and more.
Yeah, so what did the incident say? Like, was it just kind of reliving that night?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't really take the time to read it as well. It's a week where there's like 50 different things demanding attention, but I remembered that. I remember I actually liked the music. Apparently, I just liked someone else's music and didn't know it.
Yeah, and fun fact, that one single that they were known for, I think it was called "Girl, You Know It's True." Was that the name of the song?
One of them, yes. Also, blame it on the rain.
Yeah, the first one that I mentioned, that song went certified diamond. Now, for those of you out there who don't know the various accolades within the music world, if you release an album or a song and it sells, or in this case now streams, 500,000 times, it becomes gold. If it reaches 1 million, it becomes platinum. But if you manage to actually reach to 10 million, that is diamond. And very few bands or artists have ever reached that accolade. I know just recently Linkin Park hit that with their old debut album Hybrid Theory. That actually just hit the 12 million sold mark.
Aha.
Oh yes, and another band that might be surprised to know who's in that club, Creed.
Well, there you go. People like the dark and heavy stuff.
Dark and heavy and also cheesy at the same time. Because remember how Scott Stapp sang like, "Hello, my friend, we've been united."
Oh, right. Creed has a bit of a negative reputation, don't they?
They do. Starting out, they definitely didn't. The album Human Clay, the one that reached 10 million, was still a pretty good, solid album. But it was the album that came after that where things kind of started to fall apart, and the singer, his addiction problems started to show. And I think not too long ago, I think he revealed that he was bipolar.
Oh, well. Gosh,
Yeah,
performing with that's got to be rough too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Uh, and of course, add alcoholism on that. Like that is not going to make matters better at all. I know people do kind of want to look back at them and go, "Oh my God, this was so stupid. I can't believe I like this." Like, why is that a reason to hate it? Like because like now you think it's dumb. Back then, you thought it was the best thing ever. Why are you changing this now? Like, are you trying to fit in amongst other music fans?
Well, you never know. The audience can always turn on a dime, as we all
It can't.
experience at some point. But I need to divert real quick because I realize I never thanked Trinary for his donation earlier. So, Trinary, that is always greatly appreciated.
Yes, always tip your artist. Thank you so much for your donation.
And Chris Blessings has
Not
been
just tip, but
kind enough to host me on their own channel. And I've also, even before we started the stream, Pat G500 and Fanman Third both followed me on Twitch. So thank you both.
mm,
So there you go. And now I'm at the point Cruiser is calling me from while on the road. I didn't realize that you'd be doing this while traveling. So he can't see this, but I am about to engage in decapitation of this character. Hmm.
I'll watch it later on YouTube.
Let's see here. Well, I may have already
uh,
foiled myself here. Here, let's take a gander. Oh, yes. Oh, I see what's wrong here. But basically,
Now,
I'm at the stage where I can start making poses for a character, but for that I need to separate their body.
and speaking of poses, I also like to send you a thank you from my friend Evan because you actually will label your poses.
Well, I try.
There's been one. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry. I try to. I mean, it's what I rely on when I do my editing.
There's been way too many instances where I'll do a collab with somebody or a crossover. I'm not sure what the actual correct terminology is. They'll send their poses, and it drives my friend Evan insane when they don't label them. You just have to browse through hundreds of poses to find the right one.
Wow. I have to doff my cap to you, Cruiser. You made editing sound like shipping. You know,
Wait, pardon me?
you have to go on tons of dates to find the right one. Ah. So congratulations. You are now officially a shipper.
Look, if I'm a shipper, then I'm going to hop on like then I'm hopping on a cruise line. Okay, that's my ship.
At the cruise line. The cruiser's cruise line.
Won't you take me on a sea cruise? Ooh-wee. Oh yes, I know that song.
I should hope so. It's a good one.
Yeah, I actually remember hearing it in a Gallagher stand-up special.
Now let's see here. This will be Rainbow Crew Profile Body. And we do want this on film and video. Yes, there is a method to my madness, but not always. So never take it for granted.
And if anyone out there is wondering where I'm traveling to, it's to Orlando. I'm actually visiting Universal Studios. Despite the pandemic, what's going on, these parks down here, they're way too important to Florida's economy to just let them fall by the wayside. So the parks, like be it Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, heck, even a small one like Fun Spot, they've taken all the necessary precautions and safety so that people can still come in and enjoy the parks. Like you cannot get in unless your temperature has been checked, you're wearing a mask. There's people with hand sanitizer at the beginning and end of every ride. Uh, there's even distancing on the rides themselves, where if you're about to get on a roller coaster, they'll have a row of people. The row behind you will be empty, and then the row after that will have people. So it's like every other cart will have people in it.
Well, that's smart. I mean, I don't. I can only imagine how this has impacted that industry. I don't.
Oh,
I know
great! Like,
from the news, Disney is struggling in particular.
mhm.
Haven't heard as much
Yeah,
about
from
Universal.
what I understand,
Sorry.
it's mostly Disneyland in California that's been hit the hardest. Down here in in Florida, yeah, it's been hit pretty hard, but there's still people who are getting by. However, some were not so lucky. One of them was my friend Evan's stepmom. She is a character actor there at the parks, or at least she was. She would put on the costumes, wave hello to guests, take photos, and sadly, she was laid off.
Ah,
Now she does, yeah. I mean, right now she does have another job. She's doing fine, and needless to say, too, when all this is done, she will, reapply. Uh, it's just something that is awful that it had to happen.
hmm.
But speaking of the parks, Silver, I know you are a Transformers fan. So with that said, have you been on the Transformers ride?
I have a confession. I have never been to Universal Studios. Oh,
Blasphemy.
oh yeah. Wow. I can actually hear you turning red.
What's funny is the hotel I'm staying at, it's called the Red Roof Inn. uh, well, in that case, when this is over, you're flying your Griffin ass down here and you're checking it out. No, because I do know you are a Transformers fan. I know we all have our thoughts on Bayformers. However, I do think the ride they got right.
Well, I know I've seen pictures of like the suit actors with the kids, so kids are battling it out with Megatron. I can't fault that.
Yeah, like for me, it's kind of like whenever I see like a quote unquote bad band or a bad song, but I hear people enjoying it. It's like, you know what? I can't really hate it. I mean, the guy's doing his job. He made the song to entertain people, and these folks are entertained. Sure, it's not my thing, but I can't hate him for it. I
Now,
mean, heck, matter of fact, whenever I do a music review, I try so hard to stay away from three words when it comes to critiquing music, and that's bland, boring, or generic. Because to be honest, who the heck am I to say what's bland, boring, or generic?
what
I
about
mean, if some people,
lazy?
what would you consider to be a lazy song?
Actually, I don't. I dislike it when people say, "Oh, these writers were so lazy in working on this." Like, hang on, how do you know that? How do you know that they were lazy? How do you know that this is just the product of multiple factors? Lazy is a judgment on performance, which implies that you have some sort of insight into the effort that went into it and the factors. So when someone
Mm.
accuses laziness, I think you're overstepping here.
Yeah, matter of fact, that this may actually blow a lot of people's heads here. So make sure your hands are on your head for this, people. But I actually do not trust music critics.
Eh-huh.
Okay, that was the sound effect I was not expecting.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
was expecting you to use your sound machine.
Oh well, I mean, I'm sure that there's some female sound critic off in the distance who's like, but I'm more fascinated.
Okay, well, I'll give you an example here. One of the most famously known music critics out there is a guy who goes by the name of Anthony Fantano. I have seen his videos, I have seen his reviews, and I will say this guy can definitely make good calls. I'm not going to fault him for that, but I don't understand his and other music critics' logic. To give an example, Anthony Fantano actually said he was doing some video about songs that should have never been number one, and one of them was Cotton Eye Joe by Redneck. And he said it's just a shallow, empty song that has no meaning. And now in my head, I'm thinking, dude, it's techno. Since when was techno ever known for deep philosophical lyrics or depth? It never was. It was just an excuse to get up and dance and, to some extent, do drugs, which I do not advocate. So, so what were you expecting out of a techno song? Uh, Another excuse I maybe not excuse, but thing he had to say was about this band called Dope. It's a metal band, and he said that these guys are basically just a PG-13 Marilyn Manson. And my thought was, okay, so why is that bad? For some people, Marilyn Manson might be a bit too extreme for them. Okay, I've seen Manson twice, and the first time I saw him back in 2001, yeah, you can understand how people would, find this guy a little too extreme. But for the people who want something that sounds similar but not so haunting, hey, you have an alternative. So why is this bad?
Who knows? It's hard to sometimes wrap heads around critiques, including, and hey, I probably have made people very confused myself. What is it going on about? Let's see. We have another.
Or
Oh,
oh, go ahead, go ahead.
first off, I didn't see before, but Mad Munchkin is in the chat. Hello, Maddie. She also has not been to.
Maddie,
She too has never been to a theme park.
I am so sorry.
Oh, for a minute there, I thought you were just
It
going to be
is.
angry.
No, I genuinely feel bad for anybody who's never had a chance to experience not just an amusement park, but a theme park. There is a bit of a difference here. An amusement park is just a place that's a collection of rides. And a theme park is something where they actually try to build a story around an attraction. This is why Universal and Disney have so many attractions that are based off of existing properties. Uh, like for example, one of my personal favorites at Universal Studios is the Bourne Stuntacular, based off the Bourne Identity series, and it is perhaps the most high tech stunt show I have ever seen. Like you have a projected background that has, that's kind of projecting, not just actors but also uh, backdrops and sets and locations. But it also has real sets mixed in there. Now the kicker is you don't always know what's actually there on stage and what's just part of the set or what's part of what's being projected. It's an amazing experience, and Disney, they try to do similar things. Like they try to make you feel like you're perhaps like riding in one of the cars from Cars, or they try to make you feel like you're actually in the time of the dinosaurs. And I feel bad for anybody who's never had a chance to experience theming like this.
Well, all good things in time. Although you should know you have an ally. I believe Sweetie Bloom is currently railing against me for not having been to a theme park. Right after she's done railing against me for not watching Avatar: The Last Airbender. I seem to be accruing quite the debt again with her.
Oh, and Maddie, a quick little shout out to you. When I did that video with Dr. Wolf, and you just absolutely loved not just the video, but also the fact that I'm reviewing the songs, she thought that was just a brilliant subject to cover. Thank you so much for that. There's a ton of people who are already reviewing the show, but there's not that many people who are reviewing the songs, the comics, or the chapter books. And I want to try doing that and see what would happen. And so, thank you so much for acknowledging that.
Now that actually ties into a question from earlier, specifically directed at yourself. What is your favorite Equestria Girls song?
Okay, my ultimate favorite Equestria Girls song. I gotta think here. Because I do know that my favorite My Little Pony song, like if you're gonna hold a gun to my head, say you have to pick just one, it would actually be Flawless. But as for Equestria Girls, it's gotta be knowing the girls and how they operate. It's gotta be something that I can really rock out to. So, see, going. Okay, I will admit there is one that has a lot of sentimental value to me, and that's Hope Shines Eternal. Uh, because the second time I met up with Daniel at BronyCon 2017, I went through my own little series of unfortunate events, and please, no jokes here, people. That was a serious moment, time in my life, and I was just kind of catching up with Daniel, and I was having him sign my MLP Christmas album, which for those who don't know, if you actually unfold the booklet, it's actually a poster. And he actually dedicated that song to me.
Oh,
He actually signed my book and then wrote "Hope Shines Eternal." So I'd say it probably have to be that one, just because of how sentimental it is for me now.
excellent. I mean, not excellent you had to go through that, but a kind gesture. Glad for that.
Yeah, and like I just said, it's not even a rockin' song, and that is my background. That's what I grew up with. But the fact that he dedicated that to me, well, the time will come, well, when I will review that song, and I already have this planned out. So here's a bit of a sneak peek for everyone here. Uh, when I get to reviewing the Legend of Everfree soundtrack, and I get to that song, I already had this planned out where I would basically break character. The the set, the OC, like all the animation will be gone, and it's just gonna be a camera poised on me, and I'm just gonna say I cannot judge, critique the song objectively anymore, and just tell the story of what happened and say I can't give you my honest opinion on this one without, well, at least without looking biased.
I understand, and honestly, I've never been a big fan of the whole objective review argument because usually it's just people saying stop liking or disliking what I like or dislike.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like
Uh,
you want objectivity. The objectivity would be there is a film. It is right there. It exists, or does it?
well, let me ask you this one, Silver. Would you say there's any media out there that you say that you think is objectively bad?
Objectively bad. Hmm.
Yes, like here, I'll give you one here. Uh, the infamous album from Metallica, Saint Anger. For those of you who don't know, Metallica's that album by Metallica was meant to have more of a garage sounding feel. However, the quality sounds horrible, and Lars Ulrich puts a lot of emphasis on the snare drum, and it sounds like he's banging on pots and pans the whole time. And the album is 75 minutes long.
Hmm. Well, I guess I have to answer that question with a sort of an indirect question. Have you ever? I forget if it was called junk jazz or acid jazz. It's a form of jazz where there's no progressive notes.
Actually, I'm not familiar with that.
I learned about it in a class in college, and we listened to a sample, and it sounded like a garage was having a violent nausea spell. I mean, I heard it's like, oh, no, my ear parts. So here's the thing. From my experience, I couldn't say I was a big fan, but someone versed in it might actually have a very different appreciation based on, uh, well, just based on what they know about the song and what they're technically accomplishing, even if it's not ideally. So, I guess my answer is that no, it's never. You can always say, oh, this is objectively bad, but then really that's a person asserting a subjective opinion that might be very well echoed. But at the end of the day, I think it is still subjective. Another person's subjective experience, which may be even more informed, will say otherwise. But then there's also the question: what are you trying to accomplish? If you're trying to accomplish a great musical piece that's meant to entertain, but people can't appreciate it on a technical level, you may have missed the mark. But if you're trying to defy convention and try a different style, then you may be more successful. Then again, perhaps entertaining people was not the main goal. I mean, to bring it back to 5 Degrees of Pony, when the dang show started, Hasbro just wanted to sell the toy line. It did more than that. So, in some ways, it surpassed a goal. Let's see here.
And it did do, yeah.
Alrighty.
Uh,
Oh,
just because. Sorry, go ahead.
I was about to change the subject. So please say what you were going to say.
Okay, well, uh, for me, another example of something that is objectively bad, and people get ready to do your research on this because you're not going to believe something like this actually exists. There was some band from, I think it was the 70s, and they were called the Shags. Now, they actually have their own little story. Kind of inappropriate, Silver, because they're little girls.
Warning! Warning! A bandit this is about to bomb.
Now, before anybody suspects anything, it does not go where you think. So, no.
Oh, thank goodness.
You can rest assured that. Yeah, you can rest assured that. But basically, their father went to some fortune teller, and a fortune teller said that they would make a lot of money by starting, a musical band. So he basically took his daughters, gave them a bunch of instruments and said, "Learn this." And they actually recorded an album, and it is awful. They could not stay, their guitars were out of tune. They could not stay within a proper time signature. I think the singing was completely off key. Needless to say, something like this completely flopped. However, because Frank Zappa said that's better than the Beatles, people actually listened to it and claimed they like it.
Harsh.
And I have a hard time believing people legitimately like this. Now, it's one thing if you find the story fascinating, because you listen to a lot of movies are so bad they're good, and it's the story. It's the story that's always the more interesting part, not the movie itself. And this is the same case with these little girls who made this album, and the fact that they got a good quote from Frank Zappa, and it feels like it almost kind of feels like this is the very first moment in the hipster effect. People liking something that's bad, thinking it makes them interesting.
So wait, you mean this might have been the start of hipsterism? Well, there's a story. There, that's what puts on the cultural landmark.
And yeah, so people look this up. They actually have two albums on Spotify. I'm not making this up. Uh, the one song they're most known for is a song called "My Friend Foot Foot," which was about one of their pets.
Hmm.
And you will wonder how did something like this get made. But in all honesty, I think they gave rise to the hipster movement.
How dare.
Okay, now Silver, I actually told you that I actually wanted to play a game with you guys, and the chat can actually play along as well.
Well, before we dive into that, I just want to tackle one or two more questions.
Sure, go ahead.
First off, I'm going to commiserate with my friend Drinking Buddy, who's in the Twitch chat, talking about lack of sleep, big stress, a lot of exhaustion. Glad Sweetie Bloom was not there. Folks, I'm going on like 3 hours of sleep today because of projects and stress and time. It's been a heck of a day. So, Drinking Buddy, I just may have outed you, but no, I commiserate as well. Sweetie, Bloom, I await your rage.
Poor Sweetie.
Now let's see here. From Trinary, Got any tropes in shows, movies, or whatever, like music, that you just can't stand?
Actually, yeah, there is one in music that I really don't like. You hear this from time to time, and that's when the guitarist will actually break out into a solo as the song is ending. And the song just kind of, the way it ends, it doesn't just stop, it just slowly fades away. Now, from a writing standpoint, I can understand that. It does sound pretty cool. However, I want to hear that solo. Come on.
But it's so low you can't hear?
Damn it, Silver.
There we go. There we go. I have officially earned a damn it.
I was actually trying to watch my language because I don't know what your rules are. So I was trying to, watch, my language.
Well, I appreciate that. I try to keep this as close to family friendly despite some more risque humor.
Okay, so is there a trope that you're sick and tired of seeing?
Hmm. I'm not quite at the sick and tired, but I'm reaching the point where I'm like, oh, the hidden villain, the surprise villain. We've had so many surprises in very short order that I think it would actually be nice to have just a straight up antagonist again.
Oh, didn't you actually compliment a villain in MLP about that?
Let's see here. Well, certainly doesn't just because I'm getting a little tired doesn't mean I can't appreciate when I see it. Is there a, was it Cozy Glow? Probably not.
It was either. No, I think it was actually the Storm King.
Well, he was certainly not a surprise villain.
Yeah, like I think you said something about a particular well running dry, and you're glad that they didn't take this particular route with the Storm King.
Huh. Honestly, I'll have to remind myself of it. I've said a lot over the years.
Well, if you want a quick refresher, it was in your reacting without context, the MLP movie.
Ah, well, I just knowing what I remember, I probably just enjoyed the fact that he was unabashedly villainous.
Okay, that works.
He's unapologetic.
Mhm. And quite obviously a capitalist.
Well, so on the topic
Well,
of le game.
uh, okay, so uh, for everybody in the chat, this is a game called Two Truths, One Lie. Here's how the game is played. Silver and I are going to say three things about ourselves. It can either be like an accomplishment, an event that happened in your life, whatever. Two of them are the God's honest truth. One of them is a bona fide lie, and we have to guess the lie. Now, just so we're clear on what I mean when I say lie, it cannot be something that actually happened in your life, but there's one detail that's been altered. No, it's got to be a full on lie. And people in the chat, you are more than welcome to guess along with us.
Oh, as a quick side note, Seth Moss has a better memory than I. He's pointed out the Storm King was not a threat from 1,000 years ago. Now that he says that, yes,
Okay.
that is one thing I really like about the Storm King.
Yeah, that was the well you said that has been that's pretty much dry. Like, can you also imagine holding a grudge for that long?
Honestly, yes, I can.
Well, okay, depends on who, I will say. Okay, so with that out of the way, Silver, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. So, two truths, one lie. All right.
Okay.
This is a topic of things that made me delayed to work.
Okay.
One time, it was a guy running naked down the freeway and blocking traffic. Another time, a guy wearing trash and trash bins and walking out into traffic. And and then a guy who raided an Amazon warehouse, or rather, sorry, shipping center. Which of
Well,
these
you're
is the lie?
okay. What's the chat saying? One, two, or three?
Well, there's a little bit of delay between
Okay.
us talking and folks replying. But I see that Maddie is going to bed because it is 2 a.m. Yes, please, Maddie, get some rest. We're all rooting
Yes.
for
Good
you.
night, Maddie. Thank you so much for joining us.
All right.
Okay, but if I had to now, considering you live in California, I'm going to say that the third one was the lie.
I'm afraid you're wrong on two
Really?
counts.
That actually happened.
Yes, I'm afraid you're wrong on two counts. One, I'm not living in
Really?
I'm not living in California, so
Really? I thought you told me that when we met at BabsCon, you said you were from there.
well, I was born in L.A., but I don't live there right now. So
Oh,
that might be that's not me trying to lie. It was miscommunication. So okay, so I will say, Kodabit guessed right that number two, the trash can, walking in traffic, that never happened. The the raider of the Amazon shipping or parking lot actually happened today. I got to
really?
I got to work, and the traffic had been just a little weird, and I get up to the front door and it's locked. Like what is going on here? So I finally get in when I knock on the door, and they let me in. And it turns out it's all on the local news. The police are chasing a guy who raided an Amazon truck delivery parking lot and is now on the loose. It's like, well, I know we all want those deliveries, but come on, man. As for the guy running naked down the freeway, that was years ago, on my way to an internship. And I was like, well, this is an interesting way to delay me.
I just imagine you get to work and they're like, so why are you late? And go, they'll never believe this.
Oh, no, I called in advance to let them know. It's just,
Oh,
that way the whole thing was just a flash in the pan.
clever.
I try. I try.
Okay. All right. Now here is two truths, one lie from me. These are about bands or artists I have met. So here we go.
Okay.
I inadvertently won a meet and greet with the band Hoobastank. I bumped into the band Disturbed at a Volbeat concert. I met the singer from Pantera, Phil Anselmo, at a horror convention. Which one of these is the lie?
My vote will be on the third.
You are right. That is the lie.
Mostly because I wanted inadvertently winning a meet and greet just to be like, oh, hey, what's the line for? Oh, I won a meet and greet? Huzzah!
well, well, here's how that happened because I actually, when I came up with this idea, I thought for sure you would pick that one because, as you just said, how do you inadvertently win a meet and greet? But what happened was that I was at a radio station concert. It was a music festival called the Buzz Bake Sale, and at the time, Hoobastank was a pretty big band, and they were doing a signing at this particular time, and I had this giant envelope filled with swag, flyers, posters, things to hand out to people. And so I took a marker and just wrote down when Hoobastank was doing a signing, and then like maybe 5 minutes later, some guy comes up to me and my friend wearing a Zippo T-shirt and said, "You guys want to meet Hoobastank? Yeah, come with me." Turns out Zippo was holding a meet and greet contest with a bunch of bands from that show, but the third party never showed up. And he saw that I had Hoobastank and their meet and greet time written on this envelope, and so he just picked me out of the crowd.
Lucky.
Very. And as for meeting Disturbed at a Volbeat concert, I was really there to see the opening band, this band called Cold, who was from my youth. And this was actually when I was living in Buffalo, New York, and the band Cold had just finished. So I go out to where the bar is. For the record, I do not drink, but I was getting a diet soda, and so I just I got my drink. I'm taking a sip, and then just in walks the singer from Disturbed. I'm like, wait a minute, I know that bald. I know that bald head from anywhere. Like that, that was David Draymond. What's he doing here? It turns out his band Disturbed was actually already on tour at the time, and the very next day they were about to do a show in Buffalo, and he was just here just to check out Volbeat because they were picking up recognition at the time. And I found him later inside the venue, and I go, "What are you doing here?" And he goes, "I'm here to see the show. What are you doing here?" Point taken. And Phil Ensemble, he actually was appearing at a horror convention doing signings, but unfortunately I could not go, so I have not had the pleasure of meeting that man.
Well, hopefully something for the future.
Indeed.
All right.
Okay, so Silver has a point.
I have. Oh, I have a point. Oh my god.
Only after the fact. But up bumps.
Oh, and now you owe me a quarter.
All right, I got full change here anyway. There we go.
All right, so I guess it's my turn for two truths, one lie.
Correct.
All right, let's go. I'll take favorite characters. And so, spot the lie here. Of anime that I've watched, Veemon is my favorite Digimon. Sailor Mercury is my favorite Sailor Senshi. And Rowan of Strata is my favorite Ronin warrior. I'll be impressed if anyone actually knows me well enough to get this.
Okay. What does the chat say? Do they have any thoughts?
Well, we got to give them a minute. Well, actually, you can answer a question for Champ to stay. May I ask, how was there a band named after a Pokemon?
There's a Pokemon called Shags.
Probably.
Well, keep in mind the Shags came out like decades before Pokemon ever did.
Well, for all I know, that there's probably a band out there called Manti Nightmare, and I should still stay well clear of them. All right, but we got some.
Probably.
Okay, we've got guesses. Some are saying 2. Most are saying 3 is the lie. What say you?
I believe the first is the lie.
That Veemon is my favorite Digimon? Well,
yes.
I'm sorry.
I thought it was Wormmon.
I'm afraid. No, the lie is, and I will salute anyone who actually gets this. Ronin Warriors, which was one of the earliest anime series I ever got to check out. There was an archer character named Rowan of the Strata, and he was blue. Let's keeping up with the blue theme, but he was also barely in the series. He didn't even. He was.
Really?
He was the only character who didn't even get a transformation sequence. And so he just got. Honestly, I always thought the guy got shortchanged, but it's like you can't really become a fan of a character if he's not, in the show. Then again, I should say this talking about Trixie. So, apparently the band that's named after a Pokemon is called Volbeat.
No, the Pokemon is called Voltorb.
Okay, here's the thing. With Pokemon, I assume that there's something that's come out that I'd never even heard of. So there's Voltorb, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a Volbeat out there too. Probably an electric Pokemon, but beat.
Yeah, from what I understand, it goes Voltorb and then Electrode. That's the one that looks like the Pokeball.
Oh, yes, yes. And then there's the Jigglypuff scene from above.
Oh, God. I remember that episode.
But I'm sure that there's probably Okay, pardon me 1 second while I hop on the Google. I just wanted to see what a Volbeat looks like. Well, so far there's a lot of guys with goatees and one bald guy. They look like a pretty hardcore band. They're all in black.
They're from Sweden.
They are definitely hardcore then. But oh my god, a Volbeat! It looks like a. I want to say a bee, but doesn't have a stinger. And it's very round. It's only a little bit has a little bit of black to it, so it's not as hardcore. So, wow, no, the band would attack this thing with a machine gun just to prove how mighty they are.
Especially once you hear their music.
Wait, I'm sorry. You want me to hear their music?
No, I just said especially once you hear their music.
Oh, so okay. So they would
When you said the band would attack them.
Genuinely
Yeah.
attack. Okay, okay.
Okay, so Vmon is your favorite Digimon.
Yee.
I thought for sure, I thought it was Wormmon just because that little guy is so cute.
He's cute, but he doesn't turn into an awesome dragon or an awesome lightning dragon or a gold dragon or a giant dragon. I kind of like dragons. I'm feeling like Seto Kaiba right now.
Hey, I can't blame you, man. Dragons rule. Okay, I love Dragon Force. I love that band.
Oh yes.
Okay, so my turn. Which one of these is the lie? I love the Super Mario Brothers movie. I love Street Fighter the movie. I love Battlefield Earth. Which one is the lie?
I will say the love of Battlefield Earth.
Holy shit, you actually got that one!
There we go. I also got a holy shit out of him.
I'm surprised because like it's not like you and I ever had like lunch together or something, but you've actually guessed two in a row. I'm shocked.
I'm not. Hey, you should have seen my ultimate win in random guessing last Saturday on After Dark Jackbox.
Really?
Yes, we were playing Escape from a Haunted Hotel, and my character was 3 points behind. I could win the game and escape with my life if only I guessed from a multiple choice question. And it basically was Hallmark movie titles for Christmas. And I would make this my two truths and a lie, but they were all true. One included Christmas at Graceland. So I figured, hey, I got nothing to lose by selecting all three. So I did. And at the end, everyone was like, you really shouldn't be bragging that you got it right by guessing Hallmark titles. And it's like, that sounds like someone who didn't win the game thanks to the power of Hallmark.
But yeah, I legitimately do love the Super Mario Brothers movie. I did not see it when it first came out. The only thing I knew about it was supposed to be a bad movie. I didn't see it till its 19-year anniversary, and someone had posted the whole thing on YouTube. And I figured, screw it. Let's see this train wreck. Let's see how bad it actually gets. And I'm watching it, and I was glued to the screen the whole time. Like people say it's got, it's nothing like the video game, but it's got the core of the game. Princess gets captured, the guy's got to go save her. The only thing that's really different is the setting. But other than that, the movie is entertaining for all the right reasons. So regardless of whether or not it takes place in the Mushroom Kingdom, or at least the one that people know from the game, it's still a good movie. The Street Fighter movie, that one I consider to be a guilty pleasure because they got they didn't get the core of the game right at all. It was supposed to be a fighting tournament, but then it turned into this war effort. And the film, while the film originally had a lot of fighting scenes in there, thanks to studio interference, they were cut, and it's now a war comedy. And So that one I consider to be a guilty pleasure. Battlefield Earth, I've actually never seen from beginning to end, and I don't think I ever will.
Watching reviews online is enough for me. As like, yeah, maybe for memes, but that's about it.
Okay, Silver, your turn.
My turn. Yeah. Actually, now I have to ponder. It's like, how deep does the well go? All right.
How about you do one of your guilty pleasures?
Guilty pleasures. Well, that everyone knows my guilty pleasures.
Yeah, for the record, well, I don't. That's just it.
Okay. Well, here you go. I will say what games that broke me of completionist or enthusiasm.
Okay.
Games that broke me of these was Destiny 2, Pokemon Snap, and Kingdom Hearts 2.
Now, uh, refresh my memory. When you say broke you, you mean where it just wasn't fun anymore?
Yes.
Okay, let's see here. All right, let's see. You said Pokemon Snap, Kingdom Hearts 2, and what was the first one?
Destiny 2.
I am going to say. I don't want to say it's Pokemon Snap because I think anybody would get enjoyment out of that game. I Kingdom Hearts 2. Mm, I'm going to say number one.
Destiny 2?
Yeah. Damn it. Which one was it?
It was, well, the lie is Pokemon Snap. That never broke me. I actually found that delightful.
Really?
I found that delightful.
Oh, okay. I think I misheard you. I think I misheard the question. But either way, an incorrect guess is an incorrect guess. I lost that one. uh, so, Kingdom Hearts 2 frustrated you?
Oh, it was a weekend where I put this. I was so close to finishing the game. The story was almost done. I thought, hey, I know there's a secret ending. What if I completed all the tasks and got to see the complete ending and the secret ending all together? Yeah, this is smart. So for a whole weekend, I was a man possessed, just trying to get everything. Beat Sephiroth so you can get this ability, which will speed you up on this mini game, which lets you get the high score, and do this and do that. And I actually was on the cusp of beating the Hades Paradox Cup, this super hard area. And holy crud, I lost at the penultimate stage. And by then it was late. I had to get to work. And I realized, wow, I really spent my whole weekend doing this and I don't have anything to show for it. And that broke me of the completionist mentality, I think.
Really? Okay.
It would actually be a week or two before I decided to try the game again. Or at least try that Hades Paradox Cup.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to playing video games, my goal is to just get to the end, to beat the game, and see the story unfold. I was never one for quote unquote completioning. So, how did Destiny 2 break you?
Well, that was actually just this past week. I've been trying in some off time to reach this max power level before the season reset. Then the season did reset, and I tried the game, and it was amazing how all that effort really amounted to absolutely nada. Because they raised the level, everything's stronger than me again. It's like, you know what? This wasn't as frustrating as Kingdom Hearts, but I was like, next time I'm just gonna get to a good level and leave it at that. Because I've pretty much eclipsed my best efforts in just an hour of playing the new season.
Okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I don't want to neglect questions from the audience, so this is a good game, but I'd like to break it up with some more audience questions.
By,
So,
by all means, go ahead.
One question is, are you a fan of NASCAR?
No, I'm afraid not. I'm actually not a fan of sports in general. It was just never really my thing. Now, I will say, uh, I do enjoy and now I do miss going to the ball game with my dad because that was a game I could at least understood. Yeah, you hit the ball, you run to the bases. I got that game. Basketball, okay, easy enough. Football, I never got. There seems to be like so many different rules in that game, and so many of my gym teachers wanted me to play football, but I was just not into it. They're like, "Oh, come on, football players get the girls, they get the cheerleaders." I'm like, "No, the quarterback gets it. The fat blocker doesn't. Okay, the fat blocker's the clown." I've seen this movie.
Yeah, at least in sports movies. I don't think you can actually have players date cheerleaders.
NASCAR. I do have family members who are into that sort of thing. Again, not my thing, but I do know uh, there's a lot that goes into that sport. Like when they, I know the joke is that they make just left turns all day, but uh, with how fast they go, it does take a toll on your body. Like you actually feel that pressure, pressing against you.
Oh, you should watch the movie Ford versus Ferrari. It doesn't matter if you're not a racing fan. That movie does great justice.
Really? Okay, good to know. So yeah, I'm not a big NASCAR fan. Sorry.
I'm afraid I'm not either. Perhaps at some point I should have the Wasteland Brony on. He is an avid NASCAR fan.
If that's the case, then I need to ask him what did he think of the NASCAR episode of South Park.
No, I don't remember that episode.
Oh yeah, basically, Cartman wants to become a NASCAR driver, but he thinks he can't because he believes in order to do NASCAR, you have to be poor and stupid.
Well, as usual, they're not pulling any punches.
Yeah, and I actually heard the commentary track for that episode, and they actually said whenever Cartman says something, you're never quite sure if he, the character, is means this or if it's really the guy's actual opinion. Uh, but with that particular episode, Cartman he actually like gives away all of his whoops. Cartman actually gives away like all of his material possessions. He gives away all his money. Now he believes he has to become stupid. So he sees a commercial where the product Vagisil says it causes memory loss. So he ingests a bunch of Vagisil to become stupid.
Ah, typical Cartman logic. Good gravy.
It, I will say there's this one scene where Cartman actually gets sponsored by Vagisil to race, and so he starts talking like a redneck while the other NASCAR drivers are being really serious here. And he's like, "Hey, bring it on, Danica! Think I can't steer that better than you?" I thought it was just hilarious.
Good grief and good gravy. Well, okay, continuing on the mechanical trends, however, have you ever ridden on a monorail? Sure. Which I feel like we're being set up for a Simpsons song here.
Florida resident. Hi, have we met?
We have, but we weren't on a monorail when we did it.
Well, I was referring to the person who asked the question. Yeah, of course. We have them here in Florida, all throughout Disney. It's a very pleasant way to get around from park to park.
Actually, it's funny. I've ridden on a monorail at least at Disneyland, but mostly I remember when Disney was doing like little promotional shorts to try and just keep interest in the park alive. Oh, who was the guy? He was on those dinosaur specials with my brain is blanking on this guy. But basically people would suggest the fastest ride at Disney and he'd get to ride it. So honestly, I feel like he just got a free vacation out of this deal. But he revealed the monorail.
Didn't he have glasses?
Yes. Blonde hair.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Dirty blonde hair. Hang on, once again, to the Googles. Let's see here. I remember one dinosaur special he was in.
Yeah, where he like turned into a dinosaur at the very end.
Well, that was his co-star. But this is another guy. Oh wow, son of a dinosaur. This is not. Why is this so hard to find out? I ask you. Why? Ah well.
That's Google for you.
It's Google's the internet. It's the fact that dealing with a time zone way back in the day. Oh, but it's actually on YouTube. Son of Dinosaur. Uh,
Son of Dinosaur. Okay.
well, I'll look into it later. But basically, one of the hosts of this did a really fun job, and but he also got to go basically on a tour. Eric Boardman. So basically, he established the monorail is the fastest ride at Disney, but was probably, I'd argue, the least fun to ride. I mean, which is better?
It's the least. Go ahead.
Well, which is more fun, the monorail or Space Mountain?
Space Mountain, definitely. I would say it's the least exciting, but I do have to wonder if anything has surpassed it since then, because I remember that commercial that came out like maybe late '80s, early '90s.
Again, I'm showing my age. Me.
You and me both. uh, but yeah, I know. I was actually one of those commercials where I actually heard the classical piece, the Turkish march, for the first time. Which kind of shows you how my brain works. It always seemed to go the route of music for some reason.
Well, then the next question might stir a familiar tune. What do you think of the Animaniacs reboot? And I'll just start you out with the United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama.
Haiti, Jamaica, Peru.
Yep. Now you're gonna have to sing the whole blessed country or planet, just so you can get that song out of your head. Ha ha!
It's already gone.
Oh, I envy your ability. I'll be humming it
It
later
comes with the
tonight.
territory. It comes with the territory when you're a music nerd. You can actually manage to tune out songs.
Curses! I picked the wrong profession.
As far as the reboot goes, I'm looking forward to it. Though I have to confess, I actually wasn't a fan of it when it originally aired when I was a kid. But that was really because I didn't get the jokes. Like my sense of humor didn't I didn't develop my sense of humor until later in life. Uh, Now, looking back as an adult, I can see what's hilarious about it. As far as the reboot goes, I'm looking forward to it. However, I hope to God it does not go woke. I mean, we saw that happen with Ghostbusters. We saw that with Star Wars. And I'm thinking, dear God, please don't go this route.
Well, that remains to be seen. Don't want to.
Yeah, I'll still give it a chance. I'm sure it'll be hilarious. I saw the trailers. They had that really clever pun on tense I thought was good. Seeing them reference anime in that chibi art style, like I'm still looking forward to it.
Oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Play Button Pony has followed. Welcome, Play Button Pony.
Yes, welcome, Play Button Pony.
Well, as you're a music nerd, then I have probably the ultimate question for you.
Okay.
What is your favorite kind of music?
Heavy metal.
Really, Dr. Claw?
I always, grew up around rock and roll, hard rock, and heavy metal. Although it did not start, I did not start that way. My very first concert was back in 1998, and believe it or not, it was Hanson.
I'm so sick of Henson. Everywhere I look, it's Henson, Henson, Henson. Oh,
And
sorry.
you could have swore there were girls at first.
Well, wrong, wrong Hanson. I imagine there's Zoolander fans going, "Don't you dare!"
uh, but no, mean, it was for those who don't know, they were a pop group at the time who actually could play their own instruments and write their own music. That was just the music I was into at the time, and I think that was, gosh, back in 1998. And again, that's what I just liked at the time. But right around that time was also when Rob Zombie's Dracula came out, and I'm here going, what is that? And I just kind of found myself getting closer and closer to the screen, and next thing I knew, it was over. And it was just a commercial for the album. It was not, a music video. And I'm like, and I just say to myself, what is that? I don't know, but I want to hear more. And it went from Rob Zombie to Godsmack. It went from Godsmack to Korn, and then this German band I love called Rammstein. And that's kind of what started this whole thing. Uh, and of course, when you're that young, listening to rebellious music, you think all music sucks. Like yours is the only one that's good. But as I got older, I definitely do have a pop side. When it comes to rap, I will admit I'm not that big of a fan of it, but that's because I need like some guitars behind it. I need some distorted rock guitars to really sink my teeth into it, which is why I love new metal at the time. They put a rock beat behind rap music, which I absolutely loved.
Fair enough. Although I guess it shows my musical knowledge when you said the band name, and I just wanted to go Rammstein. Da 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 Rammstein.
So you've heard of them?
I've heard of them. I keep my ear to the ground for music, pun intended.
Well, here's the thing with Rammstein. For those who don't know, like I said, they are a German band, so it's always pronounced Rammstein. It's just fun to say it that way. But they rarely get a chance to tour in the States, and frankly, other continents in general, because their live show is massive. Like when I finally got to see them in 2012, their show took up 24 semis that they actually have to pack up from Germany, put it on an ocean shipping container, and then pick up in another continent.
Good gravy.
Yeah, and now it's gotten even bigger because that was just their arena setup. Now they've actually expanded to stadiums, and it takes a solid week to erect this thing.
He used that word. Okay, I don't think I have to worry about the FBI jokes on this one.
Now, yeah, and their show, like it has more. It would have. It has more pyrotechnics than Kiss. Uh, when I saw them for the first time back in 2012, I'm like 3 rows back from the stage. The opening act was some DJ, and next thing I know, some siren is going off, and then I realize there's smoke coming from above me. I look up, and there's a catwalk lowering from the ceiling of the arena, and it's like maybe 6 feet above everyone's heads. And then here comes the band walking through the crowd with a lit torch. They get to the center of the arena, and they stand on this platform, which turned out to be a stage. There was actually a second stage in the center of the arena that they did 3 songs from. It rises them up to this catwalk, and they all go walking down this thing one by one. And like every single one of us in the arena is just flabbergasted. Like we could not believe what we're seeing. And they do their first song, and by the time they get to the bridge, there's like fire shooting from the front and from the back of the stage. And then their first song was called Sonne, which means sun, spelled Sonne. And then they do their second song, and this title is going to be a mouthful. It's called Wollt ihr das Bett in Flammen sehen, which means, would you like to see my bed in flames? They have quite a bit of songs about the adult side of things. But I just noticed that the singer was standing perfectly still throughout this whole song. And it wasn't until I got to the very end I noticed why. There was a ring of fire shooting out from underneath this guy.
Is there any chance they did a version of Ring of Fire?
Shockingly, no.
Dang it!
I know,
Oh,
you think. However, they did do a cover of Depeche Mode Stripped.
well, there you go.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and all their songs are in German. They said they refused to do a song in English. Uh, and funny story, I was actually telling someone else about this band, and they have an album called Liebe ist für alle da, which means love is for everyone. And these two older women who are behind me go, "Oh, that's so sweet." I go, "Don't get your hopes up. They have a song called Boot Dish, which means bend over."
I'm sure they appreciated the honesty.
They just started laughing. But yeah, if you're ever lucky enough to see this band, definitely do it. The pyrotechnics will shock you. Matter of fact, there's one that they're known for where it looks like the singer fires some bow into the audience, but it launches like two rockets that go all the way all the way to the back of the arena. Then two more come flying back to the stage, and then the whole stage erupts in fire.
So there's probably like a ton of engineers and roadies with fire extinguishers off the side just going, "Oh."
Yeah, probably. It is a massive show. I was supposed to see them this year, but obviously due to things, I could not. It got rescheduled to next year, and if I can meet one of them, I could die happy. I can die knowing I met the four bands that got me started down my musical nerd journey.
And I just got to respond to a comment in the chat. Yes, sweetie, I know that Hamilton has good music. I'll see it eventually. One day. Honestly, I'm starting to give up on the whole family get together to watch it.
But what about you, Silver? What are some of your favorite bands or some of your favorite concert memories?
Well, I'll tell you a little secret. I've only been to one concert ever. Oh, I
This is the
can.
part. This is the part where I wish I had a sound machine on me.
Oh, here you
How
go.
could you deprive
I'll
yourself, young
surprise
man?
you. There you go.
How can you deprive yourself, young man?
Oh, very easily, in fact. Here, have another sound effect. Yummy. It was a Weird Al concert.
Well, you at least chose someone good. I'll give you that.
Yee. Because you've never experienced Yoda until there's an entire line of stormtroopers dancing. And
Yeah, I saw that.
and I'll tell you the truth, one stormtrooper, he was really getting into it. He was just loving this. It's like I can never watch a stormtrooper die now without thinking of that Joy dying with it. No. And that happens a lot. So, what can I say? I mean, usually it's got to be a bit. I got to go with other people. And I occupy a very unique niche. One, I usually like positive music. So, light rock is usually the way to go. J-pop has actually been very attractive to me because of the more upbeat, energetic songs. But
Right, yeah.
but for Weird Al, we heard he was going to be in the in our town. So not only did I first at a comic book shop I put in to get free tickets, but then I really didn't want to leave things to chance, so I just bought the dang tickets. As a result,
Mhm.
I actually won, just on
the
randomness.
the first concert you go to and you win tickets for it.
Indeed, but I get to do what thought this was a pretty dang positive thing. I had extra tickets to give to my friends, so I got 5 people in for the cost of 3 tickets, and I thought
That
that's a pretty
is
fair
so
trade
cool.
off.
Hmm.
But
I will say, no, go ahead, please.
no, I want to hear what you want to say.
Well, if you're looking for someone that's positivity, I wouldn't. This isn't really positive, but it is very theatrical music. I would recommend you see the band Trans Siberian Orchestra.
Oh, I've heard them. Aren't they? Isn't that the band that does that awesome Christmas music? Da 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 da. Da da da
That
da
is
da
very
da da.
true. Every year they do a Christmas rock opera. Obviously, yeah, this year they sadly have to reduce to doing a live stream, and they have a very big theatrical show as well. Matter of fact, my mom and I we got to see them live finally for the first time last year, and my mother, she does not do concerts. Okay, she likes quiet nights at home, but this she was willing to make an exception for. So last year, I got lucky. Both the pre-sale and the day of the show fell on a day where I got paid. So I was able to bankroll the whole trip, and we were like 7 rows back from the stage. And my mom, like I could have swore she was going in tears. Like there was a performance by someone who was dressed like a homeless man, and how even though he's homeless, he feels the spirit of Christmas. And I'm looking at my mom, and I could swear to God, I can see her eyes tearing up in the corner.
Hmm.
And she said, she hadn't felt the Christmas spirit in so long. And uh, Josh Scorcher, he likes to see them too, and he even posted this on Twitter. But last year, they actually brought a Tesla coil with them for the show,
The Tesla Siberian
and
Orchestra. Hmm.
it was actually playing in rhythm to the music. And the one cool thing about the band that I absolutely love is that they do a free meet and greet after every show. You don't have to buy anything. You can just walk off with a blank sheet of paper and they'll sign it for you. Plus, they even have little Tupperware bins filled with guitar picks, and you are more than welcome to walk up and take some.
Hmm.
This
Pick.
band is extremely fan friendly, so I would highly recommend anybody go see them. And because the show is so big, it doesn't matter where you sit, you will be able to see everything.
Although when you say that you can pick up a pick, is it a pick that's been used by the band?
Oh yeah, definitely. Whenever bands go on tour, they always have these custom guitar picks that have like their signature and their band logo on there, and they just have extras with them so that they can give them to fans.
Nice.
Yeah. It so if you really want something positive, and especially something that's gonna make it feel like the Christmas spirit, I would definitely recommend anybody go check out Trans Siberian Orchestra.
Well, a good endorsement.
Mhm. It's
Alrighty.
a beautiful show.
Excellent. Think just about at a good stopping point. I've been going through expressions, all manner. Now, I guess I should. Well, again, sorry, Cruiser, you'll have to check this out on the replay. What I'm doing is if I change the base body file, rather than now having to redraw the same expressions over and over and over again, all I have to do, actually, it would help if I was in the right file. There we go. Body and duplicate it to get pointing. I can update the body pose for all the layers, all the expressions in one felled swoop. And that way, I save time, and, well, I don't think it's as much fun to watch me redraw the same expressions over and over and over and over. It sounds rather dull.
Well, before we end everything, there is actually a plug I would like to do for
Oh,
someone, if
please
that's
do.
okay with you.
Please do.
Okay. All right. For those who may not know, MLP's very own Daniel Ingram is actually starting his own brand of kids' music called the Tree Bees. And he just released the first album for it, which is a Christmas album. And I gotta say, it turned out better than I thought it was going to. Uh, as I think a lot of people realize that Christmas music has the stigma of being a cash grab unless it's something like TSO. But he, however, went the extra mile. The sound, it was performed by people who could actually sing. The sound quality is great. And I really appreciate the fact that he does not have a choir of kids singing. I just never liked that style. And plus, he actually has original Christmas music that he wrote. One of my personal favorites is called A Coconut Christmas, which, being from Florida, it does not snow here. But that song managed to really capture the vibe of the tropics with the feel of Christmas. Uh, and he also has uncommon Christmas songs like I Saw Three Ships. I don't think I heard that song in like 10 years, as well as, of course, some Christmas classics. And perhaps one of the best things I can say about the album is that it's not annoying. When it comes to doing stuff for your kids, you will tolerate a lot because they're kids. However, with what he created, he managed to make it so that both kids and even parents could enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest here, do parents really want to throw on Kids Bop for their kids while they're in the car? I doubt it.
Ugh,
But with
Kids Bop. Ugh.
yeah, Kids Bop, the Wiggles. I mean, granted, like the Wiggles are harmless, but again, do you really want to subject yourself to that? I kind of doubt it. But with what he created with the Tree Bees, he managed to make it enjoyable for both ages, for the entire family. And that's one of the best things you can do whenever you're trying to create something with kids. I mean, especially like with what they did with My Little Pony. It was a kid show, but adults managed to get behind it. So he managed to take that skill and apply it to this brand of kids music he's starting.
Uh, I know you're on your phone and traveling, but where could we find a link to this? I mean, is Tree Bees like one word or with a Z?
It's actually the first album is on Spotify. Actually, to be honest with you, it's let me actually see if I can pull up a link here.
Well, here we go. I've at least got a link on Daniel Ingram's Twitter that I will throw up in. Oh, bleh. Oh wait, sound effect. Uh, I'll put this in the chat on the YouTube and on the Twitch.
Okay, let me see.
So,
And I just and for anybody out there who just said Spotify, let me send you the link here. I will have to send. Oh wait, there we go. And paste. There, just sent it to you on Discord.
oh, okay. Here we go. Well, while I'm pulling this up, there's also been the question of have you ever seen or heard Starlight Express?
Starlight Express.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds very familiar. I know I've heard that somewhere.
Hmm.
Can
I
can the questioner please fill me in?
Champ to stay. If you can let us know where we can find the Starlight Express, because I confess I'm not keeping up myself. Let's see here. I'm just gonna head over to the Twitch. Make sure my comments. Yes, my comments are there in the chat. Alrighty. So back to the tubes of the U. Uh oh, now Champ, really now. He's asking me a food question, but it sounds like innuendo. I sense I'm walking into a trap.
A trap.
Let's see here. Andrew Lloyd Webber created Starlight Express.
Okay, so this is more of a theater production styled song music.
Quite possible.
Well, I'm going to have to look it up now, especially if it's Christmas related and if it does make you feel the spirit of Christmas, then definitely I need to check it out. You tend to lose that feeling as you get old, unless you have kids.
Or you watch them up at Christmas Carol. I can.
Touche.
I always get into the Christmas spirit when I watch that.
I actually met the voice of Kermit a few years ago. The original one, Steve Whitmer, at a convention.
Wait, I'm sorry. The original voice of Kermit? I'm sorry, but that was Jim
Yeah,
Henson. I sorry, the fanboy in me must scream this from the heavens.
Jim Henson was the original voice of Kermit.
I believe so. Yes,
Shows you how much I know.
Jim Henson himself. He's the successors have done.
I thought it was.
Hmm?
Well, I just thought Jim Henson was just the company. I didn't realize he was the voice of Kermit.
Oh yes, he was got directly involved, and Kermit was an extension of himself.
Puppetry.
Mm.
Something that I think is actually kind of missing in media these days.
CG's cheaper and arguably easier, which is unfortunate. But at this point, everyone, well, as you might see, I've got Pinkie Pie Says Goodnight to put together before I can call it a day. It's been a long day, so we must shift. I must shift gears, but I wanted to make progress on a Patreon supporter and thank them for their efforts. Though, Rainbow Crew, if you're still in the chat, let me know if your character has a cutie mark. I'm drawing a blank here. So,
And thank you so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun. I enjoyed this.
I enjoyed having you, Cruiser. I appreciate you being willing to do this while on the road.
Absolutely. Technology is rather. It's amazing how far we've come with technology and what you can do while you're occupied.
Well, it's good times. And I appreciate you sharing your perspective on music, which is something I don't have a lot of view in. As I said, only been to one concert. So I get the sense that,
Well, come 2021, we need to change that.
oh my goodness, I'm going to have people dragging me to concerts or throwing me at Universal Studios, which I wouldn't really complain. But in the meantime, everyone, I will wish you a wonderful weekend with good health, good company, and brighter days on the horizon. So, concert, Cruiser, is there anything you'd like to say before we go?
While I was on the phone with you, I just got a few new subscribers and a follower. Thank you for checking out my content and my social. Uh, I hope you enjoy music reviews. It's something a little bit different, and I hope to actually review other music and songs that are featured in cartoons as well. And just hope that I will create content that will entertain the masses.
Which is a fine goal, and well, one we all strive towards. So, I will wish you all a good night, and thanks once again for. Oh well, Evangeline, I'm sorry I couldn't do more of a Q&A, but come back next week. Let's see what we can do. But in the meantime, I'll wish you all well. I'm Silver